fellow Sudokans, and welcome to Zen and the Art of the Guardian Sudoku puzzle for Monday, the 2nd of May 2022. I hope you are keeping well. I hope you're nice and relaxed, because I'm assuming that in many countries around the world today will be a bank holiday. If you have the luxury of having a bank holiday, well done. Since yesterday, which is an international holiday, fell on a Sunday. Usually most countries don't work on a Sunday anyway, so many people will be having today off. So if that's you, you are at home and you are thinking, hey, I know what, I've never tried Sudoku. Well, today is the day when you can try it. You've been meaning to try the game out for ages, but you're not very confident and you think, oh, I'm no good at maths or with numbers. Well, put that out of your head immediately, because excuse me, this game has nothing to do with numbers. Nothing, well, actually, yes, I stand by that statement, nothing to do with numbers. We just happen to use numbers as logic placeholders. What do I mean? Just an idea that this as a token, really. So we use numbers as symbols, not to represent or do any calculations. Not in the classic Sudoku. Now there are some other non-classic varieties, like I don't know, killer Sudoku, I guess, or various forms where you need to add numbers up. But this, in the regular Sudoku, you don't need to do any maths whatsoever. But counting from 1 to 9 is an advantage. But some of the people on my channel would prefer you not to count from 1 to 9. So anyway, whichever way you do it. But how do we play this game? What is this game about? It's a game of logic. It's a puzzle, like a jigsaw puzzle. We fit the pieces into place. Now we have a grid of 9 squares across and 9 squares down. And with the rows across, so obviously each row has 9 squares. Now you can see there are some rows that are completely empty, like this one here, and then there are rows that have numbers already filled in. This row has 5, 4 and 7 already here. This row has 6 and 9 already filled in. And the same thing for the columns. Oops, excuse me, if I can put my mouse down in a straight line. This column here has a 9, 7 and a 2 already in place. Now what we do is we fit the numbers 1 to 9 in each row and in each column. But not just that, we also have one more added thing to do. We have to fit numbers 1 to 9 in each of these smaller 3 by 3 grids that you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is often why it's called the game of nines. There's 9 of everything in this game. So that's the objective. Just put a number into each square, which we sometimes call cells, right? Square or a cell, and make it fit in the pattern. So how do we go about doing this? Rule number 1, do not guess. Don't guess. Work it out. Guessing is not the game. I have met some people who said, oh, I just guess. Please don't guess. It's not the objective of the game, and it's not as much fun also if you win by luck. So, and also very difficult, I should imagine. No, I've never tried to guess really. So 2 blocks across here, what do I mean? If I say 2 blocks across here, what I mean is we already have a 2 in this row. Now we have some empty squares. We already have 2, 4, 5 and 8, and we have these empty squares in this row. And so we have to fit all of the other numbers that are not 8, 5, 4 or 2 into these spaces here, right? But because we've already got a 2, well, we can't repeat that, so there cannot be a 2 further down here. Now, if we look at this row here, this row up here, we can see there is already a 2 here, okay? So because there's 2 blocks across this row and there's 2 blocks across this row, when we look at this square here in the middle, which does not yet have a 2, we find there's one empty square right smack bang in the middle, which is not affected by either this 2 or this 2, right? So we know, in fact, that 2 has to fit there because it can't go into these 3 or these 3 squares because of this or this. Got it? That's how we play the game. What else? Well, same kind of thing, we just go looking around for it. Now, remember, the numbers can appear, 1 to 9 can appear once only within its block. So we already have a 7 in this block here. So can a 7 appear here? No, 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 no. So this square cannot be a 7 because we already have a 7 here. Okay. Now when we look at this row across here and we count and look for the numbers, remember we go between 1 and 9, we find that 7 is still missing. Now we know it can't go here, so that means we know that it has to fit there because it can't go anywhere else, right? Let's keep on with the 7s. Let's say 7 blocks these squares up here, this 7 blocks those squares down there, and 7 blocks across here. So in this middle block now we can see 7 has to fit there. Got it? Okay, so now you're really playing Sudoku. Congratulations. There is one more number to get across here, right? What do we have? We have 1, we have 2. Do we have a 3 anywhere? Can you see a 3 in this row? No, we don't. So we know that that's got to be a 3. Now, if you want to check that everything is okay, you can count through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So yes, we have everything complete. And when you are a beginner, when you're brand new to Sudoku, counting is a good idea like that to double check that you've got everything right and make sure you haven't put any double numbers in, because that kind of mistake happens a lot, really, to be honest with you, when you first play Sudoku. And even if you're an expert, you can still make mistakes. So it's good quite often to check. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to find the digit 7, where digit 7 can go in this block down in the southwest corner. Sometimes Sudoku books count blocks. Talking about these large boxes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Block 7 will sometimes be referred to in Sudoku books or something. I'm asking you to find digit 7 in block 7. Got it? Okay. Well, let's see now if you were right. So I'm going to highlight the digit 7, and when you're playing on the computer, that highlights all of these numbers, all of the 7s up on the grid. So that's useful as well if you're playing on a computer. But I recommend you try playing on printed page first of all. So 7 blocks down here, this 7 blocks down here, so we know these 3 squares are out. This 7 blocks across here, so this square can't be 7. 7 blocks across here, and so 7 fits there. Did you get it right? Great, well done. So now you're well on the way to becoming a Sudoku expert. Just another few years, or in some cases a few months actually, to become an expert. Really, if you really want to play the game and learn a lot of techniques and stuff, certainly could do it. 2 blocks across here, 2 blocks across here, 2 blocks down here. That is going to be a 2, that square there. Now, one thing we often do is to try to think ahead a little bit. All right. So, what I want you to do now is to try to find the 4 in this southeastern block, block 9, refer to in books. Looking for digit 4. Did you find it? Okay, so if you're an absolute beginner, you might have thought, well, I see 4 blocking down here and I see 4 blocking across here, but I don't know how to decide if it's in this square or this square. But if you've played a couple of times before, you've probably got the idea already of looking forward, looking ahead. So let's forget this for the moment. Let's look somewhere else. Instead, let's look at this 4 here and see what effect it has on the grid. Now actually, remember, when we block down here, we are blocking out these 2 squares. We know that 4 can't be in this square or this square. Right? So in this block down here, we know that 4 must appear either here or here. Now if it appears here, boom, this row is blocked. And if it appears here, boom, this row is blocked, the same thing. So it doesn't matter which one of these 2 squares the 4 is in. We can't say which is in, but we know it's not here and not here. it certainly blocks out these two squares here. And so now in the 4 blocks across here, you can see that there is only one available square. The 4 has to fit there. It couldn't be in this square because 4 blocks down here, meaning 4 is in one of these two squares and cannot be here. Okay. You'll find a 3 in this block fairly easily, I'm sure. Have a quick look. Okay, yeah, that didn't take long, did it? 3 blocks across here, 3 blocks across here. So we know that 3 has to fit there. Okay, now we're going to find a 1 in this row here. Okay, so this one blocks this square, and this one blocks this square. So again, in this row here, only one empty square. We know that the 1 has to fit there. Now, because there are only 2 empty squares in this row, we should find out what they are. We've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3, we've got 4. There's no 5. We've got 6, we've got 7, but there's no 8. So we know that these two squares must contain 5 or 8. And when we look at it, we say, can we tell which is 5 and which is 8? We do that by checking out anything intersecting within the block or up within the column. And no, we can't. We don't have any information as to whether which one of these squares is 5 and which one is 8. But I wanted to show you that because this is what we need to do in Sudoku. You need to look and check and see and experiment and say, is this true? No, this is not true. Okay, but we might remember that for later, that this is 5 and 8. So when we get one of these squares, we will know the other one, right? Right, so let's continue along with our journey and see what else we can find. And if you're new to this channel, brand new to this channel, you should know that I never play these games ahead of time. So I don't know what the actual answer is, the solution is, until I get there. Now, I have some ways of going forward now that I could show you, but I don't want to show you because they're not really beginner level, and I don't want to show you something that's a bit too tricky on your first game. I'd rather show you the easy ways of finding it. Okay, so, all right, now let's see if you can find a 4 in this block here. All right, I think that's long enough. Let's see now, when we highlight the 4s, you'll see a 4 blocking up here, and 4 blocking up here, and 4 blocking across here. So that's a 4 we can place there. And now we can find a 4 in this block here very quickly as well, using one of the numbers that using the 4 that we just placed. Okay, so 4 blocks across here like this, 4 blocks across here, and 4 blocks up here. So we know that 4 goes there. We can't do any more on 4s because if we examine where they can go, we actually find that they look like this. And we can't solve this kind of problem when it's like a square like this immediately. We need to know one of them. As soon as we know one of them, we'll get the other one. Right, let's keep looking then. So if you get to the point where you can't see anything specifically, the point about Sudoku is deciding where to look. So I already checked out this square and this square, didn't I? And I found it's 5 and 8, but I found that I couldn't say which is which. But look up here, we have 2 squares missing from this column, so that might be a good place to look as well. And when we look, we find we are lacking a 5 and a 9. That's what we need now. Now this time we can find which is which, because we've got a 5 blocking this square, and actually we've got a 9 blocking this square as well, so we've got 2 pieces of help. Normally we only get 1, but this time we have 2. So we know the 9 goes there and the 5 goes there. And now we can get a 5. Remember we said 5 and 8 in these 2 squares? Now you understand that the 5 can't go here because we now have a 5 in the same block, so we know that this is going to be a 5 and this will be an 8. Now we only have one number to complete this block here. The missing number is 6, so we'll put that in now. And we try to find the next place to look. The next place to look is in this block here, because we only have 3 numbers missing. And when we investigate what they are, we find one of them is an 8. So 8 blocks across here, and we can place our 8 there now. Now we know this has got to be either a 4 or a 9, right? To finish these 2, we've got everything else. 1, 2, 3, no 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, no 9. So 9 blocks down here. So that will be our 9, and this will be our 4. Now we only, okay, now we have a 4 in this block here, 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 oops, that's a 6, here, here, there, there, and there. We have 8 4s on the grid. And is in fact just this central block here that doesn't have a 4. Now, a golden rule to remember of Sudoku, I always say this in my beginners games, is that if you have 8 of a digit, you can always find the 9th version of the 9th iteration of it. It's guaranteed. You have enough information to find digit number, the 9th iteration of that digit. It's just difficult because we're using numbers to explain this sometimes, but like this: 4 blocks across here, 4 blocks up here, 4 blocks down there. That has to be our 4, and our 4 is finished. We have 9 4s, 1 in every block, so we don't have to think about digit 4 anymore. Next thing we would probably do is to look down here and find out what numbers are missing from these rows, because we have just 2 missing here and 2 missing here, so we can work out what they are. So the missing numbers here are 1 and 9, and we look up here and we say, yes, we do have an intersecting 9. So when the 9 comes down, it stops that square from becoming a 9. 9 goes here, 1 goes there. And then the missing numbers from this row, or from this block, doesn't matter, it's the same thing, are 5 and 6. When we look for anything intersecting up here, we don't find anything. So now we can't solve the 5 and 6 here. For the moment, we just have to leave that for now. And we look for other places where we might be able to fit things. Let's see, this block has 3 empty squares. Missing numbers are 1, 5, 9. Well, we can see the 5 blocking here, so we know 5 is in one of these 2 squares. We can see the 9 blocking up here, so we know 9 is either in this square or this square. And we don't know anything about the 1. So we can't finish this block just with what we have, just with that information. It's not enough information, so we need to look elsewhere. Let's look at what's missing from these 3 squares here, shall we? We've got, what we don't have is, we don't have 3, we don't have 6, and we don't have 9. So again, we have 9 blocking up here, so we know 9 is in those squares there. And this time we have 6 blocking up here as well. So this time we can find a number. Okay, missing numbers are 3, 6, and 9. But look, we have 6 and 9 in the same column. So this square here, can it be 6? No. Can it be 9? No. So what is it? It has to be 3, because we only have 3 numbers, and we know that the 6 and 9 are limited to these 2 squares here. Okay. Now we'll use that 3 to block across here, and the 3 blocks up here. So we can place our 3 here now, and now we've got slightly fewer empty squares up here. We only have 2. Let's see what's missing. Missing is 1 and 8. Can we do anything with 1 or 8? Do we know which is which? No, we don't. but that's okay. It's okay for now. In fact, the 8 though, in this block we can find now, because we have an 8 blocking up here and an 8 blocking across here, so we know that 8 has to fit there. So, you know, gradually, fewer places to, fewer squares to fill in. And now, missing number in one of these two squares is a 1. We don't see a 1 in this block yet, but we see an intersecting 1 down here. So this square can't become a 1. That has to be a 1 right there. Now we have only one digit missing in this block, which is 6. So we put that in, and that 6 says that this square can't become a 6. But we still need a 6 in this block, so 6 goes there. The last number up here now is a 9. Now 9 blocks across here, giving us a 9 here. Or you could have just looked through and found out the missing number. It was a 9 if you see it's the same information. So what's missing across here now? 1 and 5. Can we say which is which? No, we still can't say which is which. That's okay. We'll get back to it later on. Excuse the background sound. Here in Thailand, people often sell things, or buy things in this case, with megaphones on a truck. Right, now, what numbers are missing from this column? We don't yet have a 2, and we don't yet have a 6. So that's what we need to fill in here, because that's what we don't have in this series here. So 2 and 6 fit here, and I think you're ahead of me, haven't you? You've already seen that 6 can't fit here. So we know that 6 is there, and 2 fits there. Now, we have 9 blocking across here, and we have 9 blocking up here. So this is the only place where a 9 can go. And now there's just one empty square in this column. So we just have to find out what the missing number is. And when we look through, we'll find it's a 3. We don't have a 3. So we know that that is a 3. Where to look now? So we're going to need to look somewhere up the top here, because we can't work out these and we can't work out these. So we only, and this is 1 or 8, can't work out this either. So we're going to have to look in this block or this block down here, across here rather. So maybe we should just hit some numbers and see where they can go. So we see 1. Where can 1 go in this block here? Well, 1 can fit in any of these squares here. Now we know 1 is in these squares here. Over here though, we've got this one blocking this square and this square, so actually the 1 can fit in all of these squares, so that's a lot. We can't really get much more information from that. What happens if we click on 2? We see that 2 is possible in this square and this square. When you see the intersecting 2's, see where they block, right? You see 2's are left like this, and we can't do very much there like that. Again, can't do anything actually like that. What's happening with the 3's? Well, quite similar. We have 3's here, and we have 3's in these squares, which are quite similar to the 2's. In fact, this is a 3 or a 2 only. In fact, all right, let me show you this now. I wasn't going to show you this, but because it's a bit more of an advanced kind of idea, but let me show you because it might be useful. All right, so we're going to look for 2 or 3 in this block here. Right now we have 2's blocking across here, 2 blocking up here, 2 blocking up here like this, and then 3 blocking across, 3 blocking up, and 3 blocking up here. So we know that these 2 squares must contain 2 and 3. Now, because there are 2 numbers and in 2 squares, no other numbers can go in there. We know that this must either be 2 or 3 because we have only 2 numbers that can only go in those squares. So everything else is forbidden. Everything else is eliminated. Okay. So now what happens? Try to let me show. I tell you what. I'll color them for you, shall I? Okay. So then now we now know that this is only 2 or 3, so it's a bit easier to see. Now what happens when we try to find other numbers in this block here? For example, supposing we try to find a digit 6. I say that because I happen to know that that's a useful thing to try. So let's see, we have 6. So 6 blocks across here like this, and 6 blocks across here like this, and 6 blocks up here. Now remember, it can't, or if we hadn't seen this 2 or 3, we would have had 2 squares where the 6 can go. But actually, now that we know that this orange block is either 2 or 3, we know that it can't be a 6 either, and so the 6 must go into this square here, like that. Sorry, I inadvertently coloured that by mistake. Let's uncolor it. Okay, 6 goes there. Okay. What else do we know? Let's try the 7s. 7 blocks up here, 7 blocks up here, 7 blocks across here. We can see that 7 has to fit there now. Oh, I've done it again. Excuse me. wrong thing selected on the computer. There we go. 7 fits there now. What about what else is missing? What about the 8s? 8 blocks up here, 8 blocks up here, so we know the 8 has to fit there. So remember, we know that this is 2 or 3, so the only 2 other numbers that we're looking for in these 2 squares is 1 and 5. We're looking for 1 and 5 here. Now we can see that the 5 blocks here like this, so the 5 goes there and the 1 goes there. So do you see we solved almost everything here? The only thing we didn't actually finish were the 2 and the 3, but we managed to fill in all of the other numbers because we knew that 2 and 3 were limited to these squares only. Now, this is a magical thing in Sudoku. You're going to find it's a great helper. As soon as you get to the medium level puzzles, this kind of thing is what you need to do. Beginner level puzzles, you don't normally need it, but it was a good chance to show you, teach you something hopefully you haven't learned before, if you just if you're a beginner. The missing number in this column now is a 5, and now we have just one number missing in this block, which is 1. Okay, still don't know about this 2 and 3, but we know it's 2 and 3. I don't need to color it now. I think let's stop with the color, because otherwise we might get a bit confused, or just, I don't know, I find it off-putting, the colors like that. Now we can finish this block because we only have one number missing for this column. The missing number in this column is a 5, so we can put in a 5 there. Oh, I've done it again. I'm selecting the wrong mode. There we go, 5. And the missing number here now is a 6. Okay, so these 6 blocks are all done. We just have the 3 blocks at the top. By the way, when you have 3 blocks in a row like this, we call it a chute. That's C-H-U-T-E. And that has some relationship, which will be useful for you to learn about when you learn more about Sudoku. Okay. Now we are still 2 numbers missing up here, which have been missing for a long time, and they are 1 and 8. But now we have the opportunity to put them in because we know that the 8 is now blocked from here, and so we know the 8 fits there, and the 1 has to go there. And we can take this 1 and drag it across, this 1 blocking across, and the 1 up here to give us a 1 in that square. Now we just one empty square for this row. When you look through, you'll find it's a 7. Okay, and we still have our 2, 3 here. So nothing's changed. We still don't know which is which, so we still can't solve this. So we know for sure that we have to be looking at these 4 empty squares here, because the 2 and 3 we already know about. Right, so what numbers are missing here? So we've got 1, 3 blocks up here, so 3 is going to be here. 2 blocks up here, so 2 is here. We still can't fix the 2 or the 3 because we just have this 2 and 3 here. So that's not going to be any good to us. So we know that the 2 and the 3 are no good at this time. We need to find the other 2 missing numbers. And the other 2 missing numbers are 5 and 8. So let's check out the 5s. 5 blocks across here, 5 blocks up here. Yes, we can find our 5 that goes there. And how about the 8? The 8 blocks across here and the 8 blocks up here, and so the 8 fits here. And now we can finish the game, because in this block we have just one missing number, and that missing number is a 2. So the 2 goes here. And if we come back here, if you remember, let's do this. 2 must now go here, and the 3 will go here. And the last number missing here is 3, which will finish the game. So there you go, your first ever easy level Sudoku. Or if you've just played once or twice before and need to play the easy levels, I hope you're getting a bit better at understanding what to do. Remember, never too old to learn. Pass this on to all of your, if you are a younger person yourself and you have elderly relatives, try to teach them yourself. Try to encourage them to watch this video and play Sudoku. Learn the basics. It's good for improving your facilities of logic and just, letting you practice thinking a bit. Okay, that's it. Bye bye.